It was early evening, and the first stars of the night appeared and shone brightly over the streets below. Inside a cosy house on one of the streets, there lived a little boy called Noah. It wasn't time for him to get into bed just yet, and he was playing with his toys in his bedroom. A summer's breeze drifted through his open window, and he heard the sound of an owl hooting. Noah looked up at the window and noticed how bright the stars looked that night. He loved looking at the stars and thought they always looked so magical. He often wondered what it would feel like to be a star and look down at the earth below. What would he see? Would he be able to see other planets? How many stars were up there? Noah smiled to himself. Maybe one day he'd find out. He looked away from the window and carried on playing with his toys. All of a sudden, something flew through the open window and landed with a soft thud on the carpet next to him. Noah's eyes grew wide in surprise when he saw what it was. It was a star, and it was lying right there on his carpet. Noah moved closer to the star. It was a bit bigger than his hand and had 2 pointy legs, 2 pointy arms, and 1 pointy head. It must have fallen from the sky. He didn't know stars could fall. How strange! He looked closer at the star. It wasn't very shiny, and it was pale grey. Noah had always imagined stars would be silver. Whenever he drew stars, he always used his silver crayons to draw them, and sometimes he put silver glitter on them too. Noah continued to stare at the star. What should he do with it? He couldn't just leave it there. Perhaps he should tell his mum. She would know what to do with the fallen star. At that moment, the little star opened her eyes. She blinked 3 times and then said, "Hi." Noah was surprised to hear the star talk, but he said hi back. The star sat up and looked around. She asked Noah where she was. Noah replied, "In my bedroom, in my house, on Maple Avenue. My house number is 25 if you need to know that." The star thanked him for the information and said she'd never been inside a house before and had only seen them from the sky. She smiled up at Noah and said her name was Twinkle. Noah gave his name. Then he asked Twinkle what had happened to her. Why had she fallen from the sky, and had she ever done that before? Twinkle stood up and stretched out her pointy arms and legs. She looked at the window and said, "I've never fallen from the sky before. I didn't even know I could fall. I was up there, as usual, looking down at the earth, and then, all of a sudden, I was flying through the sky and into your bedroom." Noah asked if she'd hurt herself. Twinkle said no, and then she frowned and told Noah she did remember feeling a bit different when she was in the sky a few minutes ago and wasn't feeling as happy as she usually was, but she didn't know why she had felt that way. Noah nodded in understanding and said he sometimes felt like that, but it didn't last long. Twinkle looked at her arms and legs and told Noah she wasn't usually that colour and was normally silver. She didn't know why she'd changed colour. Noah said, "Maybe when you're feeling a bit unhappy, You might have forgotten how to shine, and that's why you fell. If I put you next to the window, do you think you could fly back to the sky?" Twinkle said she didn't know, but it was worth a try. Noah gently picked up the little star. She felt warm in his hands. He lifted her towards the open part of the window and waited. Twinkle jiggled about in his hands. Nothing happened, and she stayed right where she was. She jumped up and down as if trying to make herself lift off like an aeroplane. Again, nothing happened, and she remained in Noah's hands. Noah said she should try flapping her arms like a bird and see if that helped. Twinkle flapped her arms, but yet again she stayed right where she was. Twinkle shook her head and sighed. She told Noah that although she now knew how to fall, she didn't know how to fly. Noah said, "We'll think of something. If we make you shine again, you might be able to fly." He smiled at the little star. Twinkle smiled back. She looked at the toys on his carpet and asked what they were. "These are my toys," he explained. "You can play with them if you like." Twinkle had never played with toys before and didn't know what to do with them, so Noah said he would show her. First he picked up his yo-yo and made it go up and down on the string. He handed it to Twinkle and told her to have a go. The little star tried her best but kept getting the yo-yo's string into a knot. Noah said he used to do that too when he first started playing with it. He looked around his room and said he'd find something else to play with instead. Noah went over to his toy box and took out some felt squares that had roads and houses printed on them. He laid them out on the carpet. Then he pulled his toy garage out from under his little desk and put it at the side of the felt squares. Small cars, lorries and motorcycles were parked neatly inside the garage. Twinkle laughed and clapped her little hands in delight. She said, "These are roads. I've seen them from the sky. And I've seen that building too, but I don't know what it's called. Cars and lorries go in and out of it, but they always have their lights on because it's night time when I see them." Noah told Twinkle the building was called a garage. Then he showed the little star how to play with the toys. He pointed to a red car that was parked on the top level of the garage and said, "This is my car. I've been parked there all day because I've been inside my office working at my desk, and now it's time to go home." Twinkle said, "Have you really been in an office all day? And what is an office?" Noah giggled and said he was just pretending. Twinkle didn't know what that meant, so Noah kindly explained it to her. Twinkle giggled and said she was going to pretend too. She pointed to a green wagon and told Noah she'd been in her office all day too and wanted to go home. Noah told Twinkle to follow him because he knew the way to their houses. The little star moved closer to the garage and watched Noah carefully. He put his hand on the red car, made a car noise, and reversed it out of the parking area. Then he moved the car over to the lift and put it inside. He used the lever to make the lift go down to the ground. Once it was there, Noah drove the car out of the garage and onto one of the roads on the mats. He told Twinkle to do the same. The star reached out for a green wagon and reversed it out of the car parking space, just like Noah had done. She even made the same car noise. She put the wagon in the lift, used the lever to lower it, and then drove the wagon out. The little boy and the star drove their vehicles along the winding roads until they reached their homes. They parked outside their houses and switched their engines off. Noah told Twinkle she was a good driver. Twinkle grinned and her eyes shone with joy. She said playing with cars was a lot of fun. Noah looked closer at the star and said, "You're starting to shine. Look." Twinkle looked at her arms and legs. She wasn't a pale grey colour anymore, and was now a delicate shade of silver. Noah said she might be ready to fly now, so he picked up the little star and took her to the window again. Twinkle tried to fly, but yet again she didn't move from Noah's hand. She told him she didn't mind that much, because she was enjoying playing with the cars and wanted to stay a bit longer. Noah said he had other toys to play with too. He rummaged about in his toy box and brought out his toy farmhouse and some farm buildings. He put them on the carpet. Noah asked Twinkle to reach into the farm buildings and grab the animals who were inside. He put his hand inside a barn and brought out some cows. He made a mooing noise, which made Twinkle giggle. She mooed loudly, which made Noah giggle too. Twinkle reached into one of the buildings and pulled out a couple of chickens, and then a goat, some sheep, and a black and white sheepdog. Noah made animal noises for each one, and Twinkle copied him. Making funny animal noises made them both laugh, and Noah noticed that Twinkle shone brighter and brighter every time she laughed. He told Twinkle she was shining more and asked if she wanted to try flying again, but she said maybe later, because she wanted to play with the farm and the animals. Noah and Twinkle had a great time playing with the farm. They pretended that some of the sheep had got lost, and when the sheepdog went to look for them, he found the woolly animals in the garage, sitting on motorcycles. The chickens went on an adventure too, and travelled in the back of Twinkle's green wagon to the supermarket. And when they got there, they bought some pasta and sauce, because they were going to have spaghetti bolognese for their dinner. Twinkle didn't know what spaghetti bolognese was, but Noah explained what the meal looked like and how delicious it was. He asked Twinkle if she ate anything when she was in the sky. She said no, but when she was back there and looking down on Earth again, she would imagine everyone eating spaghetti bolognese. Noah giggled and said, "Even the owls? And the cows? And the frogs?" Twinkle chuckled and said yes, even them. They played with the farm and the animals for a while longer. Noah noticed how happy Twinkle looked and how she was shining more and more. When they'd finished playing with the farm, Twinkle asked what else they could do. Noah asked, "Do you like colouring in?" Twinkle said she'd never tried it before. Noah collected his colouring-in book and a tub of crayons from his desk. He opened the book, found a picture to colour in, and placed it on the carpet. He put the crayons next to it. He lay on his tummy and took a red crayon from the tub. He told Twinkle to pick her favourite colour. She chose a silver one. She lay on her tummy next to Noah and copied him as they coloured in a picture of 3 bears having a picnic. Twinkle was very good and never once went out of the lines. She hummed happily as she used her silver crayon. The teddy bear picture was soon finished. Noah turned the page and came to a picture of children playing outside in a park. Twinkle liked the picture very much and decided to colour everyone silver. Twinkle said she was having a wonderful time and asked Noah if he played all day long in his bedroom. Noah shook his head and said sometimes he went to school. He explained what that was to Twinkle, and he told her about his friends. Twinkle smiled. "Your friends sound lovely. I wish I had a friend." Noah put his crayon down and smiled at her. He said, "I'm your friend." His words made Twinkle shine even more. She said Noah was her friend too. As they continued colouring, Noah asked Twinkle what it was like to be a star. Twinkle said, "I'll show you." She put down her crayon, stood up and stretched out her arms. She told Noah to do the same. Twinkle looked down at the road and the farm on the carpet and said, "This is what I see when I'm in the sky. They don't normally look this big because I'm far, far away when I'm in the sky. But you can pretend to be a star and look down at the roads and imagine you're far away too." She stepped onto the road mats with her arms still stretched out and slowly turned around. Noah stretched out his arms. Then he wiggled his fingers. When Twinkle asked why he was doing that, Noah said he was trying to shine. He wiggled them some more, which made Twinkle giggle. Noah said she was shining very brightly now, and if she wanted to try flying again, he could take her to the window. "Not yet," Twinkle said. "I'm having a wonderful time, and I haven't finished showing you how to be a star yet. Look down at the mats and tell me what you see." Noah looked down and said everything looked different now that he was above it. Things looked smaller. Twinkle told him to close his eyes and pretend he was floating up through the night sky. She said softly, "Feel yourself floating higher and higher. You go past other stars and wave to them. When you're high enough, look down at the earth. Can you see the green fields and the blue ocean?" Noah nodded. Using his imagination, he told Twinkle he could see dolphins swimming in the water, and there was a big ship sailing across the waves. Twinkle said she had seen those things from the sky, and lots more. She told him about the dark green jungles she had shone down on, and mountains that were so tall they were covered in snow. The little star had seen amazing waterfalls flowing down the side of cliffs, and snowy lands where polar bears leapt from one iceberg to another. Noah imagined seeing those things too. Twinkle said it wasn't just the Earth that she had seen. She'd seen other planets too. She described what the red planet Mars looked like, and how some planets had rings around them. She told Noah about the endless night sky and the thousands and thousands of stars who lived there. Twinkle talked about the moon and said it was her favourite thing to look at because it always made her feel happy inside. Twinkle spoke more about travelling through the universe and all the things she had seen. Noah pictured himself there too, and pretended he was a star like her, and they were looking at the beautiful full moon together. He felt all warm and happy inside. He opened his eyes and smiled at the little star. He said, "You're shining very brightly now, brighter than any other star I've ever seen." Twinkle said Noah looked like he was shining too. Noah put his hand over his mouth and yawned. He said travelling through the universe had made him very tired, and he would need to get into his bed soon. Twinkle said, "What's it like to sleep in a bed?" "It's great," Noah replied. "I snuggle down in the covers and feel all cosy and warm. Why don't you get in and see what it's like?" He walked over to his bed and pulled back the cover. Twinkle followed him and asked Noah to lift her into the bed. Noah gently did so and put the little star onto the soft bed. He pulled the cover around her until just her face was peeping out. She sighed happily and said the bed was very comfy. Noah sat on a chair at the side of the bed and said, "When I'm in bed, my mum sits here and tells me a bedtime story. Would you like to hear a story?" "I would love to, thank you." Twinkle shuffled about a bit more until she was even comfier. Noah began to tell her a story about a little mouse who wanted to build a little house. His friends wanted to help him, and together they made an amazing house where all the animals could live together. Twinkle smiled and said that was a lovely story, and asked if Noah knew any more. Noah said he did, and told Twinkle another story. This time it was about a magical unicorn who could grant wishes. Twinkle really liked that one. Noah yawned and said he was getting very tired, but there was one more thing he had to do before he fell asleep, because it was something his mum did every night. He leaned over to Twinkle, kissed her on the cheek, and said, "Good night, sweet dreams, I love you." the little star began to shine brighter and brighter. She sparkled and shimmered. She glistened and glimmered. Twinkle shone so brightly that little stars rose from the top of her head and floated around the room. Some landed on the walls and glowed. Others settled on the carpet and twinkled like diamonds. Noah looked around at his bedroom of stars. It looked so magical that he felt like he was in a dream. Still shining brightly, Twinkle rose from the bed and floated in the air. Noah gasped and said, "You've remembered how to shine, and now you can fly back to the sky. How do you feel?" Twinkle said she felt happy and warm and fuzzy all at the same time. And it was because of Noah and the fun they'd had together. The little star floated over to the window and looked out. The full moon shone bright and beautiful in the sky. Noah stood next to Twinkle, and together they gazed at the moon. Twinkle thanked Noah for helping her to shine again. She said she would always be looking down at him from the sky and thinking about their special time together. Noah said he would wave to her every night. Twinkle moved closer to Noah and kissed him on the cheek. She said, "Good night, sweet dreams. I love you." Noah felt happy and warm and fuzzy, all at the same time. Twinkle flew slowly through the window, across the dark garden and up into the sky. Noah didn't take his eyes off her, and when Twinkle stopped high up in the sky, he knew exactly where she was and where to find her the next night. Noah waved, and Twinkle glowed more brightly than any of the other stars in the sky. Noah's mum came into the bedroom and stood next to Noah as he looked out of the window. She noticed the extra shiny star in the sky and said she'd never seen a star twinkle like that one before. She shut the window and closed the curtains. Then she tucked her tired little son into bed and asked if he wanted a bedtime story. Noah yawned sleepily and said he had a special story to tell his mum. He began, "Once upon a time, there was a star who had forgotten how to shine." Oh. Noah yawned again, closed his eyes, and fell fast asleep. His mum kissed him on the cheek and whispered, "You can tell me the rest of the story tomorrow. Good night, sweet dreams. I love